The image is clear. Lap 23, turn 3. Hamilton's Ferrari snaps and slides into the barrier. No contact, no mechanical failure, and the question spreads through the paddock. Was it driver error or something deeper? Hamilton didn't make excuses. He said exactly what he felt. As I went up the bank, the rear snapped out. I couldn't recover. He'd mentioned earlier that the car felt twitchy but strong. I was catching George. I had the pace of a few cars ahead. So here's where the doubt begins. The rain had started. Turn 3 with its steep banking becomes a trap the moment grip drops. Piastri, Norris and Verstappen were already adjusting. Leclerc had beat it. But Hamilton, no warning, no strategy switch, no early pit call. We're not saying it was sabotage, but why, of all drivers, was Hamilton left without critical information? He's the most experienced in changing conditions, and yet he was the one caught out. If turn 3 became a trap, someone knew. The real question is, who stayed quiet? Because the crash didn't start at the wall. It started with silence. Zandvoort's turn 3 isn't just any corner. Banked, blind and brutally unforgiving when the surface shifts. By lap 21, rain had already been reported, drops on visors, warnings from other teams. Even Piastri hinted at grip loss. And yet Hamilton kept pushing without a single heads up. Here's the timeline they won't show you on TV. Lap 22, Leclerc pits, Ferrari reacts. Lap 23, Hamilton continues on track. No call, no box. No mention of the risk. He enters the bank turn, chasing Russell, and the rear goes. Game over. Afterwards, Hamilton said the car was twitchy, but improving that he was in the fight and that he didn't know what happened. But maybe the more honest line was this. It's very unusual to not finish a race, especially when Ferrari had every reason and every bit of data to act one lap earlier. So why didn't they? Was it indecision, prioritizing Leclerc, or just underestimating the risk with Hamilton still out? Because when you replay the sequence, it's not the rear that lets go first, it's the trust. Let's compare. Lap 22. Charles Leclerc comes in for tyres. Ferrari reacts quickly. He rejoins just ahead of Antonelli. Lap 23. Hamilton is still on track as the rain intensifies and there's silence. The irony? Leclerc's stop triggered the chain of events that ended both Ferraris' race. Rejoining in front of Antonelli, he was hit into the wall on turn 3. 2 Ferraris, 2 crashes, both in the same corner under changing conditions within 2 laps. But the key difference, Leclerc had communication. He had reaction. Hamilton didn't. No warning, no alternate strategy, and once again, no support when it mattered most. He was chasing Russell, ready to climb into the top 5, and yet he was the one left without grip, without a pit call, without protection. It's becoming a pattern. When Ferrari has to choose who to prioritize under pressure, Hamilton doesn't just get the short end, he gets left out completely. 2 crashes tell 2 different stories, one caused by aggression, the other by neglect. What Piastri's telemetry reveals is how other teams handled the same conditions while Ferrari stood still. Let's look at the leaders. Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen all stayed on slicks, but they were warned. They were told about the grip shift, about the risk zone at turn 3. Their engineers adjusted brake balance, called for caution through sector 2 and prepped for possible box windows. And in private, sources say he was livid. Not about the crash, but about the fact that he was the last to know the track had turned again. Monaco, Spa. Now Zandvoort, 3 races where the delay didn't come from Hamilton's reactions, but from the pit wall's indecision. The question isn't whether the car was good. It was. The question is, how much longer can he carry a team that doesn't carry him back? The garage atmosphere after the crash said everything who said nothing, and who didn't even look him in the eye. When Hamilton returned to the garage, the cameras didn't follow, but those inside did. Mechanics looked busy. Engineers looked away. And one voice was noticeably absent. Riccardo Adami. No arm on the shoulder, no quiet debrief, no "we'll review it," just silence. Insiders say Adami stayed at his workstation, focused on data after the second crash. Hamilton, meanwhile, stood alone, helmet still on, waiting for a word that never came. It wasn't just a crash, it was abandonment. Compare that to Leclerc. After his incident with Antonelli, support rallied instantly. Discussions, replays, protective statements. Hamilton was left to explain the moment to Sky Sports himself, still unsure of exactly what went wrong. because the people who should have told him never did. This isn't about emotion, it's about respect. And at Ferrari, respect is starting to look one-sided. The silence in that garage wasn't strategy, it was message, and Hamilton heard it loud and clear. Why this moment may finally force Ferrari to choose which driver leads the vision and which one is left in the shadows. Zandvoort didn't end in carbon shards, it ended in clarity. Two Ferraris in the wall, one team without answers, and a decision no longer avoidable. Hamilton is done asking for trust, done waiting for coordination. What happened on lap 23 wasn't just a racing error, it was a system error, a failure to prioritize, to communicate, to protect the most experienced driver on the grid when it mattered most. Leclerc had support, Hamilton had static. And now the question that's haunted this team since day one returns louder than ever. Who does Ferrari build around? Because as long as both drivers are equal, the structure stays broken. Race after race, the cracks grow wider. Strategic silence, delayed calls, unspoken favoritism, it's no longer subtle. Hamilton signed with Ferrari to build something historic, but without alignment, that legacy risks collapsing under politics, not pace. With Monza on the horizon, the stakes couldn't be higher. If Ferrari doesn't choose a path now, the season, and maybe their future, slips away in silence. So, what will it be? Protect the system or back the champion?